What's up, guys? Your boy Josh Showtime, along with my man Hunter Grand, Josh Valles. This is Showtime's Fight Phone. We talk all thing fight. Now, today's episode got me real hype, excited. You want to know why? You want to know why, Josh?
Why?
Because we have DC versus Baltimore. We have Nike boots versus Timberlands. We have the Moes versus the Dummies. Like we have go-go music versus Baltimore club music. We got the crabs and then the mumbo sauce. We got the rivalry, the Beltway Classic, and that is Lamont Roach versus Tank Davis. That's not even going to be happening in Baltimore or DC, which is still the fumble of the year. I mean, the worst decision they could have ever made. But it's whatever. It's happening. It's here. It's at least it's in the Northeast. I'll at least give them that. At least it's happening in New York, which is a 3-hour drive. But it should have been in the DMV. Realistically, it should have been Cat 1. But we'll, whatever. How are we feeling about this fight, man?
Feeling great. As a DMV kid myself, I love a good DMV Baltimore rivalry, even from the amateurs. If you know boxing in this area, DMV and Baltimore have always had a boxing rivalry. So, love to see this, of course. Me personally, I do echo the sentiment of wishing it was in the DMV area. We could have done it at FedEx, Landover. I thought that could be a good site in between for both. But here it is in New York. Super excited for the fight, man. I mean, it's Gervonta Tank Davis, baby. I mean, this is one of the most exciting boxers in all of boxing, knockout artist. No matter what you think of him, you're going to tune in. It's going to be a show. So, got to be excited for that. Excited for Frank Roach as well. This is a guy who is from our area of DC in the DMV area. So, always going to root for my guy there. Definitely know some people associated with him. So, going to be in his corner on fight night for sure. Got to stick with my guy in the DMV, but I'm excited for the fight nonetheless. And I think it's going to be an explosive show. You know, a lot of pride is on the line between these two.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of pride, and once again, it's a lot of it is area pride too, man. Like you said before, the Baltimore and DC rivalry is a real thing, and it's not just about boxing. It's literally a lifestyle. Hence why I said all the stuff that is going to be versus. Like we have so many debates. Like I'm not from DC, so I don't claim DC. I never will claim DC. I'm from PG County, which is also where Lamont Roach is from. He's from Upper Marlboro, Capitol Heights area. So I vibe with him because obviously we're both from PG County, we're both from DMV. But I've lived in Baltimore before too, and it's these places are literally 30 minutes, 45 minutes from each other, but they are the exact opposite areas. The way they dress, the way they talk. Like everything what we eat is completely different. The music we listen to, everything is different. We like to say Baltimore is its own state. It really is their own state. Baltimore is Baltimore. You could be from Maryland, you from Baltimore. You from PG County, you from Baltimore. Like, and you ain't from the city, you from Baltimore. I mean, you ain't from the county, you from Baltimore. Like anybody that's from the county, but like I'm from Baltimore County. Like anybody from Baltimore, I'm from Baltimore. Like that's it. I used to hate when I tell people I'm from Maryland. And they just be like, "Oh yeah, I've been to Baltimore." I'm like, "I'm not from Baltimore." Like that's the first time I'm not from Baltimore. I'm from PG County. We're not the same. So like I said, there's a lot of that built-in rivalry that comes into that. But also, Tank and Roach, as you can imagine, like we just brought up the rivalry, they know each other. They've known each other for a long, long time. They've sparred together. These guys are very familiar with each other. So there's so much to this that is very, very big and it's important. And like I said, it's just upsetting once again. I know I'm poo-pooing the subject, but it's just upsetting that this is in New York. But at the same time, we got to remember, Lamont Roach is a smaller guy. Okay? It's a super featherweight. Coming all the way up. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. He just won the super featherweight, the super title, last year in June? But now he's going up and fighting a bigger, granted he's shorter, but obviously Gervonta is the bigger guy, and Gervonta Tank Davis. Do you think size is going to end up playing a big factor? Because he's kind of been tweening a lot of these smaller guys, not Frank Martin, but if you remember the fight before that, when he fought, was not Ryan Garcia, but the other Garcia, he was a smaller guy. Then you had the Cruz fight, not Pitbull Cruz, but the other Cruz, he was a smaller fighter. Like, what are we thinking about these, like Hector Garcia, that's who it was, I'm sorry, drew a blank. some of these smaller guys. This is the same boat. So how much do you think size is going to play a factor in this fight?
Yeah, I think it's going to play somewhat of a factor, right? We have the 130 champ coming up to 135. It's just naturally how it's going to happen. But I just also feel like it shouldn't happen. It's not like Tank is going to be just this like massive, person compared to Frank Roach. I think Frank Roach might even be taller than him.
He is.
Yeah, so I mean, in that sense, you got to just bring your skills to the test. We're talking about a 5-pound difference, and you're a champion at 130. It's not like you're a contender at 130. He's giving a chance at 135. So this is a chance for him to, and Frank Roach to really utilize his jab, his boxing skills, because I always say this: weight don't win fights, skill sets win fights, and Usyk is the king of making me sound or making me look like a genius when I say that. So I will say for Roach, yeah, I think the size will play a factor a little bit, but it shouldn't much. It should not, especially a guy like Tank, especially with Frank being taller.
I think when I say size does factor or size is an issue, it's not of the sense of Tank is bigger or like stronger or any of that kind of stuff. My issue more so is with the smaller guys in Tank is the fact that Tank can knock out 147 pounders. So like that's more so my thought process is like, brother, if you can KO a 147 pounder, you about to fight a guy that's 130. Brother, that punching power is gonna kill, like just straight decimate anybody that small. Because we all know, like weight does matter when it comes to like the punches you can withstand. That doesn't mean obviously that just because you're a heavyweight, you weigh 200 pounds, that you can't get knocked out by Tank. Tank can still knock out like I'm 200 pounds. Tank can knock me out. Like that's the type of power he does have. But yet and still, the likelihood though of a guy that's bigger can withstand more, especially an actual professional boxer. Like not Tank, but Terrence Crawford can take Tank's punches. Like, could he get KO'd? I'm sure it's possible, but that's gonna be a tough thing to sell. Like, I mean, we see that. Like, it's gonna be very tough to sell. Crawford got a chin. He's also much bigger. Like Canelo, same thing. Tank's not knocking Canelo out. It's just not gonna happen. But when you go to those smaller weights and a guy that is literally, like I said, smaller weights, Tank very well might be around the same size, like weight wise, they probably around the same size. But Lamont just has a little bit more fat to cut than Tank does. But yet and still, how can any 130 pounder really take Tank punches? The answer is no. I don't believe there's a single 130 pounder in the world that can take a clean punch from Tank Davis. I just don't see it.
I would disagree. I think Oceanique Foster, Shock Foster, gives Tank a heck of problems in a fight, and he's a 130-pound champ. But to your point, I do think that, again, Lamont, I said Frank Roach, so I apologize. I'm like mixing up opponents here. Lamont Roach, listen, like I said about Crawford and Canelo, we got to just start saying these guys know what they're signing up for. We know Lamont Roach must have felt Tank's power enough times to say, you know what, in a pro fight for a lot of money with a camp, I got this guy. So with that being said, he must have some inside knowledge of like, you know what, let's fight. I can take his punches regardless if Tank has, knocked out a Mario Barrios or whoever. I can take Tank. So we'll see what happens, but this is what he signed up for. This is what Lamont wanted. So we're gonna see what happens on Saturday.
No, 100%. And at the end of the day, when you have that confidence in yourself, you will take those big fights. And not to mention, he's gonna get paid handsomely for this. Like, let's not kid ourselves here. There's a lot of stuff you get when you fight Tank. You get a notoriety, which also brings a lot of money. And then also you can upset the world. Like, if you genuinely believe your skill set. I mean, we're not talking about a scrub here. He's never been knocked out a day in his life. All right, he's had one loss, and that was 6 years ago. Like, we're dealing with a tough guy. And not to mention, like I said, I'm always going to believe this about these PG brothers, bro. We're built different. Like, simple and plain. We're built different. I know for a fact he's not going to come in intimidated. He has sparred him before. He's gonna come in confident in himself and his abilities. Not to mention, no matter how many years ago it was, it's just knowing that I'm tough enough, I'm good enough, and not to mention like look here, he fought Hector Garcia. He beat him by split decision, but at the same time, we gotta remember when Hector and Tank was fighting, like Hector was. I'm not saying he was working him, but Hector was making Tank work, like until he went blind, in the middle of the fight. He was making Tank work a lot, and it was actually a very competitive fight until, like I said, he went blind. He couldn't see anymore, even though his eyes was wide open. I've never seen that before, and I don't know. Maybe we'll see it this week. We'll see. But like I said, it's just the different kind of levels of power. But at the same time, it's gonna be, I think, a very competitive fight because I know Lamont's gonna come in. He got the bigger reach. He's the taller guy, and he's still gonna come in with that confidence. Now, what is your keys to victory for Lamont to win this fight?
I mentioned it earlier. He just has to utilize his reach, stay on the outside. You don't want to get into a fire battle with Tank Davis. I don't know how many times these smaller guys, especially if you're a smaller guy, 135, do your thing. If you're a smaller guy, you want to move, you want to utilize your boxing skills, stay away from the power. We haven't really seen that from an opponent except for Mario Barrios. And look what happened to him. He lasted all the way to 11th, 12th round, right? I think it was 11th, but even though he still got
he was actually winning that fight card until he was getting dropped.
There was yes, exactly. So we have seen some outboxing by Tank's opponents. We just gotta go that route. If you look at all the opponents that Tank has been fighting lately, I mean, a lot of them kept coming forward or allowed Tank to stalk him and cut the ring off. You can't let that happen if you want to win this fight. And I think that's the only key I have for him. Stay away from the ring.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you completely. Like, you got to stay away from that power. Now, I mean, the reach isn't much, but my thing is you just don't want Tank to start having fun and getting confident. That's the thing. The one thing I've seen that frustrates Tank is people that are busy, that are in his face. I don't think backing up or using your legs is as effective as people think it is. Because I think I think he gets confidence from that. Knowing that you're using your legs like, oh yeah, this dude don't want to get punched by me. Okay, that's cool. Like, I'm just going to wear you down then. I think the people who go smack at him, like the Cruzes or the Mario Barrios, because Barrios was not afraid or intimidated. He was sticking that jab, but my guy was throwing combinations at Tank's head. Cruz, we already know, he wasn't worried at all. He wasn't scared. That man was just going in there trying to put in work. And to the point that, obviously, Gervonta got hurt, but Gervonta had the box to win that fight. I think that is more so the key. I know it's scary. You got to go into that fire knowing that you might get slept on. But if you look at his competitive fights, even De La Cruz, that fight was hella competitive until he got knocked out with the punch of the century. Like, if you re-look at that fight, like, he legit was going smack at Tank, and Tank was like being like, it was very competitive. He was losing rounds. So, like, I mean, you have to be the aggressor, I think, in order to win. And you're gonna have to be perfect. You cannot get caught. You can't be reckless like a Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia was aggressive, but he was also careless. You can't do that. You gotta be smart, because something gonna come your way. So as long as you know that you can fire it off, but something gonna be, you gotta cover up. You gotta protect yourself. I think that is the best way to beat Tank. We haven't seen it yet. It's hard to do, but it is possible. Now for Tank, simple and plain, is to be who you are. Simple and plain, be smart. Let him make the mistake like he loves to do. And then you want to continue to show your power. All right? Go to the body. All right? Look for that pull hook, or now obviously that uppercut's always going to be there for him. And look for that pull uppercut that he like to do. Look for that. I mean, there's so many things that Tank has in his arsenal. He's such a smart, fluid boxer. But at the same time, I think that him countering, but also letting him feel safe. All right? Let him gain some confidence to the point that he does make a mistake and leave himself open so you can hit your counter shot and then KO him. What would you say is the keys of victory for Tank?
I think you said it. You just got to be Tank Davis. You got to cut off the ring. Like I said, if Frank is on his horse, cut off the ring and deliver the shot that you know how to deliver. If he's coming forward, then you know what to do. You did it against Ryan Garcia. You did it against Hector Luis, Garcia. You did it against all these different opponents that you have. Mario Barrios. We just counter punching is something that Gervonta Davis is just a master at. Did it against Rolly Romero. So that's it.
Did it versus Ryan Garcia.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
the list goes on about the counter punching. So for you, Tank, keys to victory is just be Gervonta Tank Davis. But if you don't cut off the ring, it may be a long night for you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I mean, this fight is going to be. I think this fight is going to be a lot more interesting than people give credit to. I mean, then again, like Tank likes to get the comparisons to Mike Tyson a lot, but he's not really like Mike Tyson. Because Mike Tyson will go in 1 minute and decimate you. Like the first 3 rounds, that's a wrap. Tank, I'm not gonna say he plays with his food, but he kind of does. Like he likes to feel things out. He doesn't just come out there and say, "Oh, I know I have the power to end your lights, and I'm gonna do it right now." If you really look at his last 5 or 6 fights, that's not really his game. It's like I'm gonna let the fight come to me, and when it's there, which it will be, curtains. And I know that you're not going to be able to take it. And he's so, and I've said this several times. People got so pissed at me for stating the fact, which is that the stats says this. If you watch it, it also shows you this. Tank is one of the most inactive boxers in his division. He doesn't throw many punches. That's not his game. If he did throw a lot of punches, he would get guys out the way quicker. But he doesn't because he's smart. He picks his shots. So, once again, go back to what I said is being him, don't throw a lot. Let him make the mistake. That's what he does. So, I mean, we know how this is going to go for him. He's going to pick his shots. He's going to wait, be patient. And then when you do something stupid or leave yourself open, or when he feels like he's tired and he's like, all right, I don't really care anymore about, like letting this last. I'm ready to be more aggressive. Then he's going to be more aggressive. He's going to start picking you apart, start hitting you with body shots, and start bringing your guard down. And then it's like, you might want to leave that up, buddy. Something coming to your chin, night. It's wrap. I mean, that's just a fact. One of the most inactive boxers in the lightweight division, but he is one of the most accurate boxers. That tells you everything you need to know about Tank Davis. He's a smart boxer, but at the end of the day, he has the touch of death, and he's super accurate. It's not even the fact that he just has power. He has power, he has quick twitch, but he lands them things right to where he needs to. So it's going to be a tough obstacle for anybody in that division to deal with him, but definitely Lamont's got a really big task for him.
Yeah, but again, as I say with all of these fighters, this is what you're asking for. You signed up for this, so let's see greatness. You're going to be in front of millions of people on pay-per-view. Time to show out. You don't have just, your name attached to you. Also, you got a city behind you in DC and PG County behind you as well. So show your heart, show your pride.
Yes, sir. Now look, it's time to make our predictions, brother. Hey, look, we are what are we? Am I 0 for? I'm 0-1 for the year. So
we're starting this new trend. So you went better BF last fight, and I went
BF. So I went better BF. I lost. I went I went to Bulls, but he didn't play. I mean, he didn't fight, so it didn't matter. I would say Shakur, that don't count. I don't think I did say I was gonna pick Israel. By the way, he freaking.
That was your first pick.
That was Virgil Ortiz looked good.
Smoked him, but Virgil Ortiz got hit a lot. He got hit with some good shots too, though.
He looked
Virgil
good.
Ortiz definitely in his fight though, for sure.
Yeah.
No
so
question.
so we'll do this. All right, I'm gonna go first since I've been 0 for pretty much everything for boxing. I've been terrible, but I'm gonna go with the obvious pick, man. I'm gonna go Tank Davis. I do think that he's gonna get the stoppage victory. Once again, if you're not the very best, and when I say very, I mean top 1 in your weight class, you're not gonna beat Tank, especially in or around his weight class. If you're at 135, you're at 130, you have to be the best person in your weight. LAMONT ROACH is good, very, very good. He's not the best. He's going to get slept within 10.
Okay, I give him one more round than that. I say slept in by the 11th.
Oh, okay. Hey, look, we're somewhat on the same page, but at the same time, it's just Tank is just a different beast, man. Like, I mean, we need to start seeing these fights with the Shakurs. I mean, I'm honestly starting to even get geared up towards Keyshawn, but I still want Keyshawn to fight Andy Cruz, and just get that dub back. So yeah, that's how I feel. I would love to hear what you guys think on the comment box, man. Who do you have? And also, who do you want to see next, just in case Tank does win? That's obviously he's going to be the favorite for a reason. Who do you want to see next that's not named Shakur? Because obviously that's the name everybody wants. And not to mention, he's standing 10 toes down. Tank is saying that he's not fighting much longer. He only has about a year left. So that means that we do need to get the Shakurs, that we do need to get the Keyshawn Davis, the Teofimo Lopez, the Devin Haney's. Like, we have to get these fights, honestly, consecutively. This should be, if he's so serious about these being his last few fights, then we need to start seeing the head honchos after this. There can be no more 130 pounders. There can be no more regular belt champions. It needs to be only the cream of the crop for now on. You're 30 years old. There's no, I don't want to hear anything else. Like, nothing else. After that, I'm going to start calling it the Floyd Mayweather protection. So, like, the witness protection or something, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I would say the Leonard LRB protection program.
There we go.
So, yeah, I would, you can call it LEP, Leonard LRB protection program. So, yeah, I mean, look, to your point, yeah, if he gets through Lamont Roach, seriously, it better be a good fight. Like, I better see a Shakur, a Keyshawn Davis, or somebody. If he picks Andy Cruz, I'm gonna lose.
Big facts. Big facts.
Could you imagine if
But
they were
man,
like
thank you guys.
Gervonta Davis versus Andy Cruz? I'd be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. But thank you guys for watching per usual, man. Hey, look, man, leave a comment under and tell us who you think and why. Also, follow us on social media at Josh Fight Farm. We appreciate all the support. Josh, you have anything to say before we head out?
Nope. Social media, follow us, and leave comments.
All right, we appreciate it as always. Make sure y'all stay blessed and make sure y'all give us a follow.